Hey everybody, it's Jill from the Wandering Stamper. We are in beautiful Key West, Florida for the next couple of weeks, and we've been out kayaking in the Saddle something Keys. So when we're done here, it's time to go to the stamp room. I hope you can join me. Hello everyone, thanks again for joining me. I'm Jill, the Wandering Stamper, and today we're going to make this cute pop-up step front panel card using the beautiful butterfly suite. Look how cute this is. It folds flat to fit into a regular size envelope, and I made this sample so it sits up like so. But the fun thing is you can also make this card so it sits on its side. I know you can't see that. I will post some photos, but it can sit on its side this way, or it can stand up this way. So I think the card we're going to make today will be sideways so that you get a chance to see the same style card flipped over to the side. So let's get started. This is a pretty easy card to make. There's just a few cutting and scoring instructions, but it's all pretty basic. So first you're going to take your card base and we're going to cut. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet. This happens to be the crushed curry. I thought it would look pretty against the Calypso coral paper. So we're going to use both of those today. So we're going to cut the base 4 1/4 inches by 10.5. So 4 1/4 inches. I'm going to set this little piece aside. And this is an 8.5 by 11, so we're just cutting a 1/2 inch off of this piece. You could also swing the arm of your cutter out if you wanted to and cut it that way. Make sure I got that straight. I did. Okay. So once that's cut, then we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to score this on the long side at a 1/2 inch, which is right there, and then 1 3/4 inches, and then 3 3/4 inches, and 5 inches. Okay, so that's all we need to do with that one. So we're going to use this other half of the paper that we had before. This is going to be cut 6 inches by 2 3/8 inches. So I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. Set this piece aside for something else. And 2 3/8 inches. Okay. So that's going to be our centerpiece. And then we're going to score this at a 1/2 inch. And 1 3/4 inches. Okay. Now I've already cut all of the other layers for you just to save time, but I will have all of those instructions down below. So let's take our first piece of paper. This is the card base, and we're going to do some folding. So we're going to fold this all up. This is your main base, and then these are the score lines down here. So we're going to fold this and get our bone folder, give it a good crease, and then we're going to fold the next piece, give it a good crease, and the next one. What we do without the bone folder to make everything so nice and crisp. Okay, so when you put that all together, it's going to create this. So that's folded. We'll set that aside, and then we're going to take our little piece and do the same thing. Okay. All right. Keep moving your camera. Sorry about that. All right. So that's done. So now I already cut the layers for the card. So I'll just tell you what those layers are. So for this large base, we have 5 1/4 by 4, 1 3/4 by 4. So the 4 inches is that way. And then we have 1 by 4. So those are our 3 pieces. And then I also have designer series paper cut slightly smaller. So 5 inches by 3 3/4, 1 1/2 by 3 3/4, and 3/4 by 3 3/4. So those are our layers for that. Okay. And then for this piece, we have 2 1/8 by 4, and then we have 2 1/8 by 1, and then we have 1 7/8 by 3 3/4, and 1 7/8 by 3/4. So those are all of our layers. I went ahead and cut those to save time because you know how to cut paper. Okay, so now we're going to do some basic gluing. So I'm going to go and put some, you can use liquid glue or Stamp and Seal. I'm just using the Stamp and Seal. I might just put a new one on here and it's a little wonky, but it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to layer this one on here. The nice thing about this card is because everything is kind of different directions, if you don't get your layers perfect, you really can't see it that they're not perfect. All right, but we're gonna try to do a good job. So that one goes on the inside, and then the rest are gonna go on the outside. Now, if you want to, which is actually a pretty good idea, you could actually layer all of your designer series paper on your cardstock first, and then put those pieces into your card base. So we're going to do the first one this way. Now I want all of my paper to face the correct direction. See how this is kind of directional, so we're going to be conscious of that, and that's something to think about when you're cutting your paper. Make sure if there's a direction to it, you're cutting it the proper direction. So we did that in 2 layers. I'm going to go ahead and do these 2. Put these 2 together before we put this on the card base. So put this one like this. Okay. And then this one goes on here. When you have these thin pieces, if it's easier, just put your glue on this way. It's a little bit easier to play with that way. Okay. So that's done. So then we can just, I don't know why I'm having a hard time with my adhesive today. I think I'm pressing too hard. I tend to press too hard, and I think that's what happens. So this piece goes here. Actually, did I cut this wrong? Wait a minute. Got my pieces mixed up. This one goes on the other piece. Yep. All right. Got my pieces mixed up. That's what happens when your dog decides to jump up and knock all your papers off your desk or your kitchen table, in my case, because as you know, I live in an RV, so I have one table, and that's the eating table. My poor husband has to eat sometimes his breakfast at the table with all my stuff around him because I'm working on things. Okay, so we're gonna put this one here. And when you cut these out, it's very easy to tell which pieces go on the base, on which pieces of the base. So it's not as hard as it seems. Okay, make sure I got it right now. Okay, so all we have left to do here is to put these down. So the easiest way to do this is go ahead and lay your adhesive across. This is this thin score line. And then I fold it like so. And then just tuck it in like that. And then once you have it down, it just folds up perfectly. Okay? So, as I said, it can go sideways or top to bottom. So we're going to set this aside, and now we're going to do this piece. Now this piece is going to go on here like this. So this piece is actually going to go right here. And I already put the adhesive on it. So we just have to place it down as straight as possible. And then we just have this one little piece to add on. This is a really easy card, but because of the fun way it folds, the person who gets this card is going to think, wow, they really spent a lot of time making this card, but you really don't. But you don't tell them that. Okay. Put that. And then you can kind of eyeball and make sure that, you know, everything's lining up nicely too. Okay, so that's done. So now I'm gonna put a little bit of glue toward the bottom, and then I'm also gonna put some right here. So the way you do this is just line it up. Now you can do it two ways. You could put it at the edge of the Calypso coral, or you can put it flush with the bottom, whichever way you want to do it. It works really well both ways. Because I think we're gonna do this one on its side, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the bottom, and I'm gonna fold this piece in and just adhere it down. And then when it all opens, perfect. Okay, so that's that. And as you can see, I originally cut this to stand this way, but I'm gonna go ahead and put everything on it this way. I think it's fine. I don't think it really matters. But if it bugs you, just if it makes you happy, put your card that way. So what I'm gonna add to the card is, I have these butterfly pieces. I cut these using the die. I cut these out from the Designer Series paper. The wonderful thing about the dies is they do match several of the butterflies that are in the Designer Series paper. I love this paper. It's so pretty. Just really bright and colorful, and it kind of screams springtime. We are in spring. So what I did is I used the dies and I cut this butterfly out. So when you put the two pieces together, you can kind of create your butterfly however you want. I've actually even done this where I've used different butterfly pieces and put them together. And then I cut the body out so it'll all go together like that. And this other butterfly I did, I just fussy cut this one. There wasn't a die for it, so I just used my scissors and cut it out, and then die cut another body. So that body will go on this one. And then for the back of my card, I actually have a piece of Whisper White, and this is where you want to write your message. So I just fussy cut a little butterfly, and I'm going to glue that right there, I think. So it's really cute. So those are the pieces that are going to go on there. I'm going to set those aside, and then my greeting, my sentiment, is going to be layered on these pieces. And again, this is from the Beautiful Shapes dies, and I'm going to put a sentiment on here and stamp it, put it all together, and then put it on my card. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to use the Calypso coral because I want to keep using the colors that are in my papers. And on this one, I'm going to use the stamp that says All the Love. I just think it's a happy little stamp. I love this set. It's fun. And it's kind of got a fun little hippie font, which I like. Okay, that's done. And then while I have my stamp pad out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this piece with So Glad You Exist. I love the little play on words with the butterflies that exist in nature. So I'm going to try to get this straight without getting my head in view. All right, give it a good rub because it is a thick stamp. That's amazingly straight. Okay, So that's done. That's all the stamping. Easy peasy. I'm going to go ahead and glue my little butterflies. I'm going to use liquid glue for this one. I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue for this. I went kayaking and my hands were in the water so long that now they're super dry, and that's salt water. But it was a beautiful day to kayak, so I had to do it. All right, so that's going to be for the back. I'm going to give that a minute to dry before we put that on the back of the card, and we're going to work with these now. Now I like these butterflies to have a little bit of liveliness to them, so I just take my bone folder and give them a little curl so they stand out a little. You can give them as much of a curl as you want. Butterflies aren't flat in nature, so I don't let them be flat on my cards. I made some cards the other day. There's another video where we use this card set, and I also added with the dies a layer of vellum over the butterflies, and they came out super pretty that way. So that's a nice idea to make your butterflies have a little extra dimension too. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. Look at this paper. This paper's so pretty too. I love Stampin' Up's Designer Series paper. They're just so pretty, and you can use them for so many different occasions. There's always lots of opportunities for creativity with that. So we're going to go ahead and layer this piece on here, and then we're going to layer this piece on. Now I think this one I'm going to use dimensionals, and get take your pick tool, because I can wrangle those things a lot better with it. I'm just going to put 3 on here. Take off my little papers. All right. And we're going to layer this one on. Okay, that's pieces done. So now we just want to decide, how do we want to lay these out? So you can, the nice thing is, as long as nothing hangs over the edges when the card's closed, you kind of can put things wherever you want. So I usually just kind of, see, your butterfly can hang off over here because when it's folded, it's not going to be in the way. That actually might be a good place for the big butterfly. I just kind of lay them out and decide where I want to have them. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. So I'm going to put glue only on this half, so that there's no glue over here. Yeah. I'll go ahead and use this. And I kind of put my finger where I know the glue ends, so I make sure I don't get glue where it's not supposed to be. All right. And now I'm going to start working on my butterflies. So I'm going to flip these guys over and use a little bit. You could use dimensionals on these or liquid glue. I'm just going to use the liquid glue. I'm going to just put a little bit down the middle, and I might as well do him too. I don't know why I'm calling these butterflies hims or hers. I think when I was a kid I thought all butterflies were girls. It made sense to me, my little brain. Oh, okay, so we'll put this one here and this one here. The nice thing is, when you cut these out with the dies, the body of the butterfly in the paper kind of helps you line up everything, which is nice. And then I think I'm going to put this one, I'm going to make it go that direction, and let's see, put it right here. You could actually put it here too, back here if you wanted to, which would be cute. All right, so now we have our 2 bodies. So I'm going to use a little liquid glue for those. I'll use this one here, and I just place it right down the middle. And then I'll place this one right here. Okay. You could also use, there's two sizes. I actually show you. There's actually a little one and a big one. Here's the big one. So you can choose the size of the body you want on the butterfly based on how big your butterfly is. Both of mine were kind of big, so I felt like this one might be too small. Let me see her. Actually, he's not bad. Maybe I'll use him. There's probably enough glue. Put a little glue. I like the little one. I changed my mind. When you're the artist, you get to change your mind, right? How many times do you change your mind on your card? This is the beauty of the silicone craft sheet, because that won't stick to it, and I can just wipe that off later, because I tend to be messy. Okay, look how cute that is. So we'll give that a second to dry. While it's drying, I have some of these. These are the opal rounds, and they're kind of iridescent. So I think we're gonna put those on the body of the butterfly. I'm gonna use the smaller ones, and I'm just gonna lay them on here, like that. Again, this take your pick tool makes that really easy to do. And you could use different colors. I have some yellow that would have worked good, and some blue, but I like these. I like these pearlescent. When you look at them closely, they kind of look like they have all the colors in the card in them. So I thought that was fun. One more. You always have to have a little sparkle on your cards, right? Okay, whoop. Okay. Push this down a little. All right. So I think the front is done. Look how cute that is. It's gonna fold up flat. And even though it goes in the envelope, when they pop it out, it's got enough curve in it that it'll still curve. Now, we still have to do the back. So I'm going to, now because I did this way, I should have stamped sideways. So we're gonna restamp this. This is what happens when you change your mind right before you start creating a video. I had in my mind we were going to make a card straight up and down, and then we flipped it sideways. So it's okay. There's two sides to a sheet of paper. Let's see if I can get this straight a second time. Okay, it's not bad. And then, of course, I don't have a butterfly now. So I'm going to get out my scraps and see what I have. These butterflies are super cute. So I'll just get my little scissors out, and I leave a little white border, just like if you were die cutting, you want to just leave a little bit of a white border. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It just looks whimsical that way, right? So you just, and I find it easier if you keep your scissors still as possible, and then just move your paper. And you don't want any, you want to keep your edges curved and don't make them too straight, and it looks pretty good. So you just give that a little, and we're actually placing this down on white paper, which makes it even better if your little edges aren't perfect, because they don't really show up against white on white. It would show up a little more if you used a different color paper. We'll just cut that out. I love using my paper. I could stamp the butterflies, but if, you know, I wanted to pop out a card really fast and I didn't feel like digging out all of my markers or all of my stamp pads so I could pick out the colors I want to use, this is a great way to put the butterfly on there without stamping. Sometimes I stamp, sometimes I cheat a little bit and do it this way. Nothing wrong with that. Whatever's easiest sometimes. Sometimes I have lots of time to do things and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to be outside having fun, so doing something else. All right. I think I will put that here and let that dry. And then we're going to go ahead and put a little adhesive on here. Move this little mess out of the way. Keep it out of my glue. All right. I don't know what is wrong with this. Yeah. Well, whatever was wrong with it, it's working now, so that's all that matters. Okay. Flip this over and just layer this on the back. And then I'm going to just move this mess out of the way. Give it a good press, make sure everything's pressed down. And there we go. Close the stamp pad up before I make a mess. There you go. Look how cute it is. So this one's sideways. It sits up perfectly fine. It's got the cute little butterflies and plenty of room on the back to write a message. And then if you want to make it a different direction, you could do it like this. And again, it stands up just fine. So you could do either way. I don't know which one's your favorite. This was done basically the same way, I just flipped it sideways. So here's those two samples. And then here's a sample I used with the Best Birthdays set. This is so cute. And I used Wink of Stella to give everything a little bit of glimmer. I used some paper left over from Celebration that was free, and it's got a cute little message on the back that says, "Wishing you all the wishes." Here's one I did using the, what is this called? I will have to list what stamps that I used. I think my dog knocked it off and I don't see it. So this is cute with the rainbows. I used the retired, this is from Celebration, the rainbow paper. I used the Wink of Stella on the sunshine and made it sparkly. So this is a super cute card, and I put some embellishments on there to sort of look like raindrops. And that's just stamped, and I used my markers to create the lines and then just fussy cut the shape and laid it on the front. So that's that one. And then this is from the Lovely and Linen stamp set and suite. So this paper and the stamps go together. And it says cheers, really pretty. And then I added some embellishments there and some silver string, so it all looks nice and elegant. And then on the back, I used one of the stamps from that, used the same colors that are in the paper to color it in, and just kept it simple with no mess. I can just write a message on there. So that one's a great one just to send to a friend, letting them know you're thinking about them. So I hope you like these samples. I hope you like the fold. It's pretty easy to do. As you can see, you can change your mind. It still works out really well. Let me know which one's your favorite, and if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I try to put a video out just about once a week, usually on Saturday or Sunday, so keep an eye out for those videos and learn how to make all these fun cards yourself. I will list all of the products as well as a link to my online store. So I hope you enjoyed these. I hope you have a great day, and I hope while you're out there wandering around, you do see some of these beautiful butterflies in nature, because let's face it, spring has sprung and they're there. Have a great day.